Notan is a term that refers to the Japanese idea of balanced light and dark areas in a composition. In previous videos, we talked about positive and negative space. We talked about composition, where we place things. We talked about repetition of shapes to make a pattern. We also talked about contrast, that difference between light and dark. This project pulls all of those ideas together. Today you're going to need a background paper that's a light color, and then you're going to need another paper that can be pretty small that's a dark color. You'll need a glue stick, scissors, and it's helpful if you have a light colored pencil to draw your design. This piece of black paper I have is only 4 inches square. Just taking some measurements to find the center, and then I can divide my space for the design. You could also find something like a roll of tape to use as a template. I'm sure you'll find other things around your house that you can trace around to help with your design. The main thing to remember is to keep it simple. I thought this was going to be simple, and it got so much more complicated once I tried piecing it together. Start out your first one using a very simple shape. If you start out with a simple shape, this is going to be encouraging instead of getting you overwhelmed and frustrated when you have too many pieces or something too difficult. Do that first, because then you can continue on and you can get more complicated or complex in your design once you feel like you understand the process. Once I have the shape cut out, I get another piece of paper to do my gluing on so I don't get glue all over the background. Now you can experiment by moving shapes around to see where you would like to put your composition. Remember, composition is the placement, the place on the paper for your shapes. The idea in Notan artwork is this balance between light and dark. And when you cut out your shape, it creates the same line over again. So this is where the pattern comes in, that these lines start repeating, and that's what gives it balance. You can flip things over, you can turn them upside down. It's usually the opposite of the other piece. It's very important that you only cut out a little bit at a time and glue it down. Try and piece it back together so you remember where everything came from. This makes the lines repeat better when it's more precise. So cut a little something out, glue it down. To invert, I'm flipping it over. But be careful when you do this that all the edges and corners match. On a couple of these, I got confused and put glue on the wrong side. I just kind of rubbed it off and made sure that I had it going the right direction. Keep going, don't worry. Stuff like this happens, and it might turn out to be an interesting design anyways. I got a little confused on this one. I wasn't sure where I was going. I decided to take out some of the lines to simplify it, and then to have one centerpiece that I could have other shapes coming out from that centerpiece. I wanted to do an original design of my own, and I was looking at the 4 elements, and I thought I would do a symbol for each one of those. Now, because this one is a little bit fussier in the lines and the design has more detail, I want to give you a tip about cutting things out. When they're fussy shapes and you feel like you can't get around the corners of the paper because maybe you'll bend it too much, you just overcut the line. So snip it a little bit further than you ordinarily would, and then when you glue it back down, no one will see your overcuts. They'll just lay down flat. I love looking at all of this black and white artwork. Yours doesn't have to be black and white. It could be colorful. It doesn't have to be a square. This one is based on a rectangle. Our 4-inch square, the design equaled 7.5 inches. So you just don't want to go off the edge of your background paper. So many different shapes to experiment with. I hope this inspires you. And remember, some of them are complicated. I want you to start simple, simple, simple. This is a little bonus piece that if you take a piece of paper and put it on top of your Notan and have a crayon that you've peeled the paper off of, you can do rubbings of your patterns. And it's kind of fun. This is the basis of printmaking, that you have one plate that you can make several copies off of it. Give it a try. You could also try some color mixing with primary colors. Just try tracing over the layers of whatever you've made and see if you like it. It's a great way to start a design and then to go back and say on my next one, I'd like to change this a little bit. And the rubbings will help you to see more of your design possibilities.